F15. Okay, so this is the new Oppo F15, and well, one of the big highlights of the F15 is the design. Now, to be honest, the moment I took this phone out of the box, I was reminded of a certain flagship from last year. Yeah, the Oppo F15's unicorn white variant looks a lot like that flagship, but is that a bad thing? Nah. Well, I like this gradient finish and I love how sleek and lightweight this phone is. The Oppo F15 is 7.9mm thin and weighs around 172 grams, and that's pretty good compared to a lot of other phones in this price range. I mean, this is a phone that feels very comfortable in the hand and it looks pretty good as well, so yeah, I like the design. Anyway, on the front you get a teardrop notch display, and the good thing is this is an AMOLED display, which is pretty nice. You get this beautiful 6.4-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with Gorilla Glass 5, and since this is AMOLED, you get all the AMOLED features like deep blacks and nice colors, and I think it looks great. The display is nice and crisp and I loved watching videos on it. The phone does have the Widevine L1 license, so HD on Netflix and Prime Video shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, thanks to AMOLED, you also get an in-display fingerprint scanner on the Oppo F15, which Oppo calls the 3rd gen in-display fingerprint scanner, and well, it is pretty fast as you can see it in action here. There's also face unlock here obviously, and like other Oppo phones, the face unlock here is super fast, so yeah, that's great. Apart from the display, the Oppo F15 has the usual buttons, the USB-C port, the headphone jack, and the single speaker on the bottom. There's also the dual SIM plus micro SD slot, which is nice because it's a dedicated slot. The next big highlight of the Oppo F15 are its quad cameras. There's the 48 megapixel primary sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, a 2 megapixel mono lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So these 4 cameras mean you can capture different types of photos. You can capture usual daytime and low light shots, and in my brief time, the phone does fairly well in good light. Now low light isn't as impressive, but it's fine nonetheless. You can also take ultra wide angle shots, which is nice since most phones come with ultra wide angle lens these days. Anyway, these ultra wide angle shots from the Oppo F15 look cool, don't they? The Oppo F15's ultra wide angle lens keeps the colors and the exposure fairly intact when compared to the primary lens, so that's pretty good. The ultra wide angle lens also works as a macro lens, which lets you go as close as 3 centimeters of an object, so you can also capture macro shots like this one or, this one. Decent, I'd say. There's also the depth sensor, so portrait mode photos have nice edge detection and fairly good looking bokeh. Yes, there's a bit of a smoothing going on and sometimes the edge detection can be a little finicky, but overall I'd say it's fine. Apart from that, you get the different camera features like the night mode, which also works with ultra wide angle lens now, and there's also a new tripod option for long exposure shots. There's also AI video beautification, which makes different beautification adjustments to different faces in the same video using AI, and more. Talking about videos, the Oppo F15 only supports 1080p at 30 FPS videos. Now, I would have liked 4K video recording or at least 1080p at 60 FPS, but I guess we have to make do with this. Anyway, here's a 1080p video and I think it's fairly stable with EIS and the quality is also decent too. On the front, you get the same 16 megapixel f2.0 camera with the usual set of features. Here are a couple of selfies I took from the phone. Moving on from cameras to things under the hood. The Oppo F15 comes with the MediaTek Helio P70 chipset, 8GB RAM and 128GB storage. Now these aren't exactly specs that'll blow us away in 2020, but these are, I'd say, decent specs for a budget smartphone. Anyway, the real world performance of the Oppo F15 seems fine, so that's good. I also played some games on the phone. PUBG Mobile runs on medium graphic settings by default and the performance of the phone is good, so no problems there. Plus, I like the different gaming-specific software features the Oppo F15 brings. There's Game Boost 2.0, which is set to increase frame rate stability in games like PUBG. There's Voice Changer in case you want to change your voice. Lastly, there's in-game noise cancelling effects, which, as the name gives away, it reduces noise in games. Apart from that, if you're wondering, this is ColorOS 6.1 on board based on Android 9 Pie. Yeah, there's no ColorOS 7 or Android 10 here, which is a little sad, but ColorOS 6.1 brings smoother transitions, navigation gestures, a smart bar for notifications and more, so yeah, that's something. Lastly, there's the battery. The Oppo F15 might be slim and nice, but it's got the fairly big 4000 mAh battery with 20-watt Whoop charging. Now, I'm yet to test out the battery, but since it's a 4000 mAh battery, I think it should be decent enough. As for the charging, the Oppo F15 goes from 0 to 50% in just 30 minutes, and that is pretty sweet fast charging. Well, that was a look at the brand new Oppo F15, and at the time of shooting this video, we don't know the price of the phone yet, But from the looks of it, this seems like a decent smartphone. The design is sleek and nice looking. There's the beautiful AMOLED display. You get the quad camera setup, a fairly big battery, and fast charging. So, all in all, this seems like a fine smartphone. Having said that, I haven't obviously tested out the F15 extensively, and if you ask me, it all depends on the price.